Women and men of their phrase, welcome. Nowadays, we're jumping into one of the maximum captivating and infamous collaborations within the international of TV. We're speaking almost Twin Peaks and the huge bond among on-display screen person Machen Amick and visionary chief David Lynch. Known for his abnormal narrating and mysterious capacity to combine reality with the abnormal, Lynch made a universe in no way like any other, and at the heart of it, Machen Amick's depiction of Shelley Johnson introduced warmth to a profoundly odd global. But what Severa might not realize is that Amick gives a bond with Lynch that rises above the talented. She depicts him as a mentor, someone who has guided her each in her career and in her lifestyles. In this tribute, we'll check out how their approaches crossed, how Lynch fashioned Amick's career, and why she proceeds to maintain him in such tall regard. In 1990, the sector was presented to Twin Peaks, a appear that mixed kill riddle with effective hottie, set in an idiosyncratic city filled with unconventional characters. For individuals who found it become a protecting revel in, one that had us addressing truth, and the nature of high quality and fiendish. One of these unconventional characters was Shelley Johnson, a server who worked on the twofold R burger joint. Shelley, depicted with the aid of Machen Amick, became sweet but intense, powerless however furiously shielding of these she loved. It changed into a component that promptly captured the target audience's hearts. But at the back of that first-rate man or woman become David Lynch, the intellect in the back of the scene, whose directorial virtuoso fashioned the notably substance of Twin Peaks. When Amick to start with try out for the part of Shelley, she had no notion how transformative this increase could be for her. She became new out of tall faculty and searching out her first of all significant smash in Hollywood. However, she swiftly found out that operating with David Lynch changed into an unusual possibility. For Amick, Lynch became lots more than a prime. He turned into a guide, someone who noticed the capability in her that she hadn't certainly observed, but David had this outstanding potential to make you experience stable as an actor. Amick, as soon as reviewed, he had this mysterious skill for pulling out a facet of you that you didn't certainly know existed. David Lynch's approach to coordinating is nothing quick of thrilling. Whereas different chiefs might also depend intensely on traditional strategies and techniques, Lynch leaned in the direction of to make a world of equivocalness and puzzle. His scripts regularly incline toward the strange, and his path empowers on-display characters to investigate profound enthusiastic and intellectual layers. This became precisely what Machen Amick located when running with him. In a popular meet, Amick portrayed her initially involvement on set with Lynch as a transformative minute. "He didn't inform me what Shelley become accrued to be," Amick said. "Instead, he accepted me to discover her on my own. He gave me space to analyze and let the individual enhance obviously." This approach made a distinction. Amick creates Shelley into a multi-dimensional person, one that changed into much greater than fair a small city waitress. Under Lynch's mentorship, Amick learned to understand the ordinary and atypical. The global of Twin Peaks was filled with unusual desires, enigmatic messages, and characters who had been in no way what they regarded. Lynch energized Amick to absolutely drench herself in this international, to allow move of any biased thoughts, and hold close the riddle of the character and the tale. Lynch didn't truthful thrust Amick to take dangers as an actor. He furthermore advised her imperative training and polished talent. He emphasized the significance of last show and open on set, a final associated to the feelings and motivations of the minute. "Working with David advised me the importance of agree with," Amick clarified. "Trust in yourself as an on-screen individual, believe on your chief, and believe in the material." David had a manner of creating you feel like you were exactly in which you have been assumed to be. As time passed, the connection among Lynch and Amick advanced past the proficient. Their bond became not fair set up within the imaginative deal with, but two in a profound commonplace regard and understanding. Amick saw Lynch as a directing drive in her existence, anyone who have been there for her amid minutes of self-doubt and confusion. David continuously made me feel like I had a cause, Amick said. He empowered me to suppose nearly the greater photo, each as an on-display man or woman, and as an individual. There were instances when I felt misplaced, uncertain of my manner. However, David was constantly there with direction, continuously there with phrases of understanding. Lynch, for his portion, never wavered to commend Amick for her capacity and dedication. He noticed something unusual in her, something beyond her acting capabilities. Amick's characteristic warm temperature and truthfulness delivered a grounded humankind to her man or woman in a peer that changed into frequently characterized by way of its surrealism and whimsy. Shelley Johnson become extra than fair a person. She were given to be a photograph of cherish, misfortune, and nice, all wrapped in the complexity of Lynch's international. Amick's appreciation in the direction of Lynch is apparent in how she displays on their time operating collectively. In one sincere meet, she stated, "David advised me to believe the cope with, to consider myself, and to grasp the riddle. He in no way spoon-fed anything to me. Instead, he accepted me to find the character, the arena, and in the end myself in a way that few chiefs can do." As Amick's career advanced after Twin Peaks, it's clear that Lynch's impact has remained a continuing constraint in her lifestyles. She went on to tackle a collection of parts in both TV and movie, counting her well-known appearances in Riverdale and other association, but the instructions she found out from Lynch are woven into every execution she gives. Lynch's unique ability to make characters which might be multifaceted and real, even inside the most dreamlike settings, can be seen in Amick's technique to her own elements. She often talks almost how Lynch advised her to approach characters with an open mind, to allow go of dreams, and to allow the story to unfurl certainly. In an industry in which severe on-screen characters are empowered to in-shape into short molds or take after patterns, Amick has remained true to the standards Lynch ingraining in her. She doesn't truthful play elements. She occupies them. Respiration existence into every man or woman she depicts with a profundity and complexity that reverberate with audiences. As the long term have passed, each Twin Peaks and David Lynch's effect proceed to reverberate within the social scene. Twin Peaks stays a scene that has stood the test of time, with its blend of surrealism, dim humor, and enthusiastic complexity. Amick, currently a prepared acting artist with a long time have come across, displays on her time with Lynch with a profound experience of appreciation and respect. In interviews and open appearances, she regularly talks around the enduring have an effect on Lynch has had on her existence. "David will constantly be my mentor," she says. "He gave me the gadgets I require to ended up now, not truthful a superior on display screen man or woman, however a advanced person. His path proceeds to form my career and my life. Certainly now, as Twin Peaks proceeds to fascinate modern-day eras of watchers, Match and Amick's depiction of Shelley Johnson remains one of the maximum adored and critical angles of the appear. It's a confirmation to the special imaginative and prescient of David Lynch and the bond he shared together with his actors, a bond that goes past the set, beyond the display, and into the fairly hearts of people who labored with him. Their collaboration on Twin Peaks became more than truthful a profession milestone. It was a transformative involvement that molded Amick into the craftsman she is in recent times. And as we continue to celebrate the bequest of Twin Peaks, it's clear that the effect of David Lynch and the mentorship he advertised Match and Amick will proceed to reverberate for Severa a long time to come back. Nowadays, we're jumping profound into the famous world of Twin Peaks, a universe that captured the creative impulses of millions, mixing the strange with the significant. One of the sparkling stars of this world was Match and Amick, whose depiction of Shelley Johnson, the kind-hearted server of the twofold R coffee shop, got to be an extraordinary portion of the series. But there's a side to Amick's story that regularly goes unspoken, her significant association to the show's maker, David Lynch. For Amick, Lynch was not fair the visionary executive who brought Twin Crests to life. He was too a coach, forming not as it were her career, but her individual improvement. As we investigate this special relationship, we'll see at how Lynch's direction formed Emick's work, the lessons he bestowed to her, and how their bond expands past fare, the craftsmanship of filmmaking. It all begun in the late 1980s when Machin Emick was a youthful, yearning performing artist new out of Tall School. Born in 1970, Emick had continuously been drawn to the expressions, but she didn't completely know where her way would lead until she tried out for a part in a bizarre and dreamlike modern, a pier called Twin Crests. Small did she know, this part would not as it were be the begin of her career, but would moreover start a proficient relationship that would direct her for a long time to come. Emick was presented to David Lynch in one of the most bizarre ways possible, through the craftsmanship of the tryout. In a confirmation to Lynch's one-of-a-kind approach, the casting prepare for Twin Crests was anything but routine. He didn't depend on commonplace casting strategies, where performing artists are frequently given particular informational around their parts. Instead, Lynch looked for on-screen characters who might encapsulate the exceptionally substance of his secretive world. Actors who may provide something startling, who might tap into the strange and the sincerely complex. When Emick was inquired to try out for the part of Shelley Johnson, she didn't know very what to anticipate. But what stood out to her quickly was Lynch's approach to working with her, or maybe than telling her what to do. Lynch made a space for her to investigate the character openly. He never told me how Shelley ought to feel or act. Emick reviews. He gave me the opportunity to discover her voice and to bring her to life in my possessed way. It wasn't fair around acting for Lynch. It was around making an environment where the on-screen characters felt secure to investigate the obscure. And that, in numerous ways, is the quintessence of Lynch's directorial style, encouraging performing artists to drench themselves completely in the passionate and mental complexities of their characters, without inflexible boundaries. Once Emick was cast as Shelley, she found herself venturing into a world not at all like any she had ever experienced sometime recently. Twin Crests was a pier that mixed the unremarkable with the fantastical, where the line between reality and bad dream was frequently obscured. Shelley was a character who, on the surface, appeared basic, a server stuck in an injurious relationship, attempting to make sense of her life in a little town. But as Lynch made the arrangement, Shelley got to be something much more, symbolic of the battles, the torment, and the profound humankind of Twin Peaks' world. David Lynch empowered Emick to investigate these inconsistencies in Shelley. He didn't tell her to play her as fair a casualty or a sweetheart. Instead, Lynch needed Emick to dig into the complexities underneath the surface. Shelley's quality, powerlessness, and versatility got to be a few of the most captivating angles of her character, much obliged to the opportunity Lynch gave Emick to reveal them. What was so progressive approximately Lynch's course was his capacity to weave the dreamlike and the enthusiastic in a way that was not as it were outwardly striking, but too profoundly mental. For Emick, this was a modern involvement. She was not utilized to executives who trusted their on-screen characters, sufficient to take off so much open for translation. Lynch's mentorship was built on an understanding of the human condition, and he connected that to his course. Emick once reflected, David has this mysterious capacity to get to the heart of who you are as an individual. He doesn't fare center on what you bring to the table as an actor. He sustains what makes you interestingly you. This approach had an enduring effect on Emick. She started to see acting not fair as a make, but as a travel of self-exploration. She found herself interfacing profoundly with Shelley, understanding the passionate battles and the way Shelley explored a life filled with both excellence and darkness. While Lynch's imaginative virtuoso molded Twin Crests in extraordinary ways, it was his part as a coach that genuinely cleared out an enduring stamp on Emick's life and career. As an executive, Lynch is known for his commitment to the craftsmanship of film, his puzzling fashion, his center on temperament and air, and his devotion to surrealist narrating. But for the on-screen characters he works with, he's much more than that. For Madge and Amick, Lynch's mentorship amplified distant past the set of Twin Crests. As Amick developed into her career, Lynch remained a directing nurse. Whether it was in her minutes of self-doubt or in her decision-making almost future parts, Amick continuously found herself turning to Lynch for exhortation. There were times when I wasn't beyond any doubt what heading I ought to go in, Amick clarified. David was continuously there to allow me clarity. He would remind me to remain genuine to my instinctual, to believe in my possessed voice. One of the most critical lessons Lynch conferred to Amick was the significance of defenselessness. In an industry where performing artists frequently feel weight to show up, idealize, or to acclimate to desires, Lynch energized Amick to grasp her genuine self. He instructed her to discover quality in helplessness, to believe that appearing her genuine feelings was not a shortcoming but a capable device for storytelling. David had this way of making me feel like I may do anything, Amick said. He trusted me, and that belief made me more certain as an on-screen character. He made me accept that each character, no matter how huge or little, might have profundity, may have meaning. As Amick's career advanced, it was clear that Lynch's impact had cleared out a lasting stamp on her acting. Whereas she went on to depict a wide extent of characters, from parts in movies like Sleepwalkers to TV arrangement like Riverdale, the lessons she learned from Lynch were never distant behind. In numerous ways, Lynch's approach to filmmaking, his readiness to grasp the unusual, the obscure, and the uncomfortable, became a basic portion of Amick's claim imaginative prepare. Her exhibitions, whether in dirty shows or happy comedies, are implanted with the same profundity and humankind that made her depiction of Shelley so notorious. The way she brings defenselessness, complexity, and enthusiastic profundity to each of her parts is a confirmation to the lessons Lynch ingraining in her. It's moreover worth noticing that Lynch's mentorship wasn't restricted to the proficient domain. He too made a difference. Amick explored the weights and challenges of being in the open eye. David was continuously there to remind me that the most imperative thing is to remain grounded, to remain associated to who I truly am, Amick shared. In a world where it's simple to lose yourself in the commotion, David's calm and shrewdness were continuously there to direct me. Now, decades afterward, as Amick proceeds to appreciate victory in her career, she remains significantly thankful to David Lynch. He changed my life, Amick said essentially. I don't think I would be the individual I am nowadays, both as a performing artist and as a human being, without his direction. His effect on my career has been immeasurable. As Twin Crests remains one of the most cherished and persuasive TV arrangement in history, Madge and Amick's depiction of Shelley Johnson stands as one of the show's most vital legacies. It's a confirmation to Lynch's capacity to make characters with profundity and humankind, and to his part in supporting the performing artists who brought these characters to life. David Lynch's effect on Amick is a story of more than fair imaginative collaboration. It's a story of mentorship, belief, and change. Amick, presently an fulfilled on-screen character and coach herself, carries Lynch's lessons with her as she proceeds to motivate gatherings of people and individual performing artists alike. Madge and Amick's tribute to David Lynch is an update that mentorship in the expressions goes past fair specialized instruction. Lynch didn't fair instruct Amick how to act. He instructed her how to believe herself, how to grasp the obscure, and how to discover profundity in each character she plays. Their collaboration on Twin Crests was fair, the starting of a deep-rooted travel of aesthetic investigation and individual growth. And as we see back at Twin Peaks, a pier that until the end of time changed the scene of television, it's clear that the bequest of David Lynch and the bond he shared with his performing artists, especially Madge and Amick, will proceed to rouse eras of storytellers and watchers. Through his direction, Lynch made a different shape, not as it were one of the most notorious characters in TV history, but moreover an enduring imaginative association that remains a necessarily portion of both of their careers.